We start with an open secret in many families: underage teens in love and having sex.
In this case, she was only 15. Was she too young to give consent? What should be the age of consent? It's an important question because sex offender laws can ruin people's lives. The state of Texas says that when Nikki Rodriguez was a child, she was sexually assaulted. This is the man who assaulted her. He admits it. Faced with 2 to 20 years in prison on a charge of sexual assault of a child, he signed a plea bargain that gave him 7 years probation. He was told he must never be near children. That meant he couldn't be any place where children gather, like playgrounds or parks. It made it tough to find work.
I want to do it again.
You can't work in public places. Can't get a job.
He completed his 7 years probation without another violation, but forever he will be on the Texas Sex Offender Registry.
I need to register.
Every year, Frank must re-register as a sex offender.
They literally just break you down to nothing.
You need your thumb. Okay. Roll your print.
They tell me I can't do this, I can't do this. You know, it gets real bad.
So what was the nature of the awful sex crime Frank committed? Well, when Nikki was 15, Frank and Nikki had sex, at her suggestion. Did he bully you into it?
No. No, not at all.
It was your idea?
It was my idea. I would say I pushed it more.
She was a freshman in high school. Frank was a 19-year-old senior. Here they are at the prom. Nikki says their relationship was not at all unusual at Caldwell High.
All my friends were having sex. All of them. All my friends, were dating older guys. Doesn't seem like a big deal.
He's the older guy. Did he push himself on you?
No, not at all. That was actually completely my decision.
Frank and Nikki were intimate for months. And you told your mother?
Right.
Nikki's mom took Nikki to Planned Parenthood to get birth control pills. But still, she didn't like what Nikki was doing.
She thought we were getting too serious.
And one night, they got into a fight.
I said, this is it. I said, we're going to the police station. I said, I've had it.
To the police station, because she knew that Frank and Nikki having sex was statutory rape. The age of consent in Texas is 17. Nikki wasn't quite 16.
She thought you go down, you file charges, slap on the wrist. Haha, I taught you a lesson.
The police interrogated Nikki.
And the officer gave me a paper and told me to write a statement. He said, you have to write a statement or, you'll go to jail. Pretty much told him everything, thinking I was helping him out.
You didn't say he raped you. You just said
we were having consensual sex.
But consent didn't matter. At her age, sex with a 19-year-old is called sexual assault. The police told Nikki she had to have a rape exam. So even though you said, look, it's this voluntary sex?
Right. They made me do this rape test.
She was taken to this hospital.
I was just so mad because I wasn't raped. And to have to go through something like that.
You must have been mad at your mom.
Oh, I was furious. I cussed at her. I was really, really upset.
And the next morning, Nikki's mom decided she would drop the charges. But when she asked the police to do that, they told her no.
They just told me at that point that there was nothing that I could do about it, that they could prosecute or do whatever they wanted to at this point with the evidence.
Frank's court-appointed defense attorney told him, you have 2 bad choices.
She said you can plead guilty and do 7 years probation, or you can fight it and do 2 to 20 years in pen. I'm like, wow.
He didn't see how he could truthfully fight it.
That's my girlfriend, I'm guilty. How am I going to deny that,
So you took the deal?
So I took the deal.
The plea bargain kept him out of prison, but it gives sex offenders a different kind of life sentence. Here he is on the web, visible to everyone, on the same list with this man who murdered a high school cheerleader, and this man who molested 200 children.
The consequences go on for the rest of your life. You are under lifelong restrictions in terms of where you can live, in terms of the kinds of jobs that you can have. You are basically being made into a pariah.
Frank had to move away from his family because his 12-year-old sister lived at home, and he wasn't permitted to be near even her. You had to move out of your house.
Yes. We buy a used mobile home and set it out on my dad's place.
And you live by yourself in the trailer?
Yes.
Frank had to get special permission from a judge to go to his high school to see his brother play football. Because there were high school kids there.
High school kids, yeah.
And above all, he was told, stay away from Nikki, because she's your underage victim, a child.
They told me if I were to see her run the opposite way, I wasn't able to see her, they told me, until she was 17.
The very day Nikki turned 17, she moved in with Frank. They lived together and a few years later got married. Now you've been married how long?
Almost 9 years. Now we have 4 little girls.
4 little girls.
But marrying Nikki didn't change Frank's legal situation. Today he can go to the park with his kids, but while he was on probation, he couldn't. He couldn't go to parks and playgrounds because other children were there. He was told he'd have to get special permission to pick up his own kids from daycare. Where's the fairness in that?
While it seems unfair, John, he was 19, she was 15. It's the price you pay, even if you end up getting married.
Texas state legislator Dan Patrick defends the tough law.
We live in a world today where everyone wants a gimme. Everyone wants a mulligan on almost every issue, whatever it is. But there are some things where the rules are the rules.
Have you tried to get off the registry?
We found a lawyer that would actually take our case, but we just don't have the funds to do it. It was like $7,500, and really that's no guarantee.
No, it isn't. Few of the 50,000 adults on the Texas Sex Offender Registry have ever gotten off the list.
We want to know who those people are. Society wants to know who those people are.
But your state lumps those kids who love each other, who are married, in with real predators.
When you say kids, when he was 19 and when she was 15, she was a kid. He was a young man. He should have known better.
He's still different from the serial rapist.
He
You
is.
lump them together.
He is. And is he in jail? No.
But it's a kind of jail, registering as a sex offender every year and worrying if people will think he's a pedophile or rapist. When he and Nikki are an elderly couple, Frank will still be listed as a man who victimized a 15-year-old child. Why does he need to be smeared when he's 60 years
John,
old?
it's the law.
But you're saying it's a good law.
Yeah, I think it's a good law. I mean, we are a country of laws, and that's the law.
I understand what they're doing. I mean, I have 4 little girls.
Nobody wants their teenager to be having sex,
There's got to be other ways around it.
The age of consent is now different state by state and different in other countries. It ranges from 21 to 9. So what age do you think it should be? On our website at abcnews.com, you can vote right now and also see what kids themselves have to say. We'll bring you the results next Friday, along with other provocative questions like, if the woman is older, like these famous teachers, does sex with a young partner do less harm? We'll have that and more next week at a special hour we call The Age of Consent.